Welcome to Talk with Kristen with an E, the podcast that's like therapy, but cheaper and way more fun. I'm Kristen, host, storyteller, and occasional overthinker. From making friends to surviving burnout, reminiscing on our younger days, and learning how to adult, we'll chat about all life's lessons and laugh in between. So grab your drink, get comfy, and let's talk it out. Hey friends, so today we're talking about something that has been on my mind for a while that I wanted to bring up to discuss with you all. Something that has been a part of my life for as far back as I can remember, and in going through my old journals, apparently may have had even stronger hold on my life than I realized at the time. We're talking about our bodies today, specifically body image, what the media has done to it, how we see ourselves, or how other people see us, how that may be different or the same. It's all kind of things I want to cover. So just to jump right in, those of you that grew up around the same time I did, so probably young Gen X, early millennials, that kind of time frame when you were coming of age in the late 90s, early 2000s. People were really skinny. Like the people on magazines were really skinny. The people on TV were really skinny. The people in movies were really skinny. Everything we saw was be really, really skinny. It actually started earlier, even in the early to mid 90s. I remember models were always very skinny. There was the talk about like they looked like they were on drugs, they were on cocaine. Everybody was so skinny, these sunken in faces. Being skinny was what you wanted to be. And I remember being skinny was the most important thing to me. Now, before we get too much farther in, I need to put a little context for you. So, in those days, my junior high school years, I actually was pretty skinny. Looking back on pictures now, I'll see if I can post some to the blog too. In high school, I was about 5'4", between 117, 125 pounds. I could fit an Abercrombie size 4, sometimes a 2. Old Navy, I was about the same. For all intents and purposes, I was a pretty skinny girl. I did not think that though. I thought that I was huge. I remember making comments of, oh my gosh, if I ever was a size 7, I would kill myself. Oh my gosh, I can never be 135 pounds. Oh my gosh, if I was fat, I would just wear muumuus all the time because people like that size shouldn't be allowed to wear any clothes. Have I mentioned I was a little bit of a mean girl back in the day? Mean girl to myself, probably more than others. Anyway, I have never actually been diagnosed as having body dysmorphia, but looking back now, seeing the way I saw myself and now seeing pictures of myself, there's no connection. What I was seeing in the mirror is not what pictures were showing. Frankly, now that I'm on the other side of things, it's the same way, but the opposite. Now I am significantly larger than a size 4. I don't know if I'm comfortable sharing exactly, but I did promise I'd be honest and vulnerable, all these things. So I'm still about 5'4.5", but we're going to go with 5'5" because that's what's on my license. I'm 5'5", and I'm more of a size 16. I like to think I could still fit in a 14 if I tried, but really I'm on the bigger side of things now, for context. But I feel like when I look in the mirror, I'm like, oh, this is cute. I don't look that bad. And then I see pictures, I'm like, ooh, that does not look that good. What I wanted to talk about is how the media and now how social media has morphed what we see, what we think is good or healthy, and what is actually normal and what we should be doing. If you've heard any of my Dear Diary segments yet, it's where I go through my different diary entries from different parts of my youth. So from my diary from 1995 to 1996, so I was 12 when all of these were written. I want to share a few of them to give you a little bit of where my mindset was back in the day, and maybe it'll trigger something with you. Hopefully not like trigger trauma, but to get you in a place where you can think about how you were back then too. Friday, June 23rd, 1995, I wrote this poem in my diary. Today at school, some people call me big and round. They said I was weighed by tons, not like them by pounds. When I got home, I looked in a mirror and said, I'm not fat. And even if I was, what's wrong with that? The next day, again in school, people said I was a geek and I was uncool. They called me a nerd because I was smart. They didn't like my hair, mainly my part. They said I wasn't worth more than a dime. Then I thought, why care? They're a waste of my time. At the bottom of the page, there's an asterisk and said, I wrote the above poem in here for safekeeping. None of it ever happened before. That's good because when I was reading, I was like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. People were so mean to me. But it was just my imagination. On Friday, February 16th, 1996, I wrote, I cannot believe Sophia. None of the guys really like her because she's kind of stuck up and says what's on her mind. Well, yesterday she was complaining about how her culottes were too baggy because she's so skinny. I said, well, you're lucky you're skinny. She, what are you complaining about? You've got like the perfect figure. Me, yeah, right. Her, you know you do, so stop fishing for compliments. I didn't agree with her then, and I don't agree with her now. But I shut up. I don't remember that specific situation, but I do remember Sophia, and she was very, very skinny. But this is an interesting point to add to it because how she said, oh, you have the perfect figure. I was in 7th grade. I did develop early, so I did have boobs then, but I wouldn't have said it was the perfect figure. But again, it's one of those data points that how we see ourselves may not be how other people see us. The last one I wanted to share from this diary was Thursday, August 22nd, 1996. I started myself on a diet Monday. Light portions, no snacks, healthy desserts, if any, and exercise. So far, I've lost 1 pound. I'm down to 119. The average person loses 2 pounds in 1 week, so I'm pretty much on track. I'd love to get down to 110, but I suppose 115 would be okay. It's not my size exactly, because if I am overweight at all, it's only like 5 or so pounds. It's just 119 is such a terribly huge number. So that's depressing. That one is actually the part that affected me the most as I just was sad for almost 13-year-old Kristen. And it's sad because the fact that I cared about writing like that and saying that I was putting myself on a diet. Please note, this was not under any medical direction. This was not from anything that I was told to do. This was just me probably reading some magazine because how else did I know that the average person could lose 2 pounds in a week? It's not like I was Googling that since Google didn't exist in 1996. This was just something I felt that I needed to do. And again, not even because I was overweight, but because I was so focused on the number. And that is what hurts me because I was focused on the numbers. And I remember, and I went through most of high school going on these weird diets that were not even scientifically backed. They were ones that either I read in a magazine or I made up. I went on a soup diet where I only ate soup every day because it was a liquid. And in my mind, I wasn't gaining any weight because it was just a liquid. Then I went on a pretzel diet because this was the time when everybody was really focused on fat free. And I remember it was like little stick pretzels and they said fat free or no fat. So I was like, oh, I can eat pretzels because there's no fat in them because I didn't understand that it wasn't the fat that was making me fat and I wasn't even fat. Ugh. So I went on that. Then I just stopped eating completely for a while too. This was later in high school and I would see how long I could go without eating. And I would actually lie about it. I remember this was the summer, probably the summer either between my junior and senior year, or maybe the summer between my senior year of high school and my freshman year of college. And I would be working all day and I'd come home and mom would say, oh, making dinner. And I was like, oh no, I ate at work. I'm fine. I'm not hungry. I hadn't eaten at work. I don't remember the last time I ate, but I was so focused on not eating that I just didn't. And I lied about it. And then I could never fully be bulimic because throwing up grossed me out. But I do remember one time specifically, I was coming home on the bus. Again, this was probably my sophomore, junior year, 15, 16. And some kids on the bus said something like, oh yeah, Kristen, you're so fat. I'm sure he was saying it sarcastically. Looking back, I can envision him saying it sarcastically, but because of where I was and so insecure and so focused on my body, I took it seriously. I don't think I cried on the bus. I think I waited till I got home. When I got in the house, I was crying. My mom asked me what was wrong, and I was like, well, this guy said I was fat. And I went to the bathroom and threw up. I don't think that's because I was forcing myself to throw up. I think it was the stress and anxiety of being so upset by it. I was not in a good place in high school and probably early college because I was so focused on how, quote unquote, fat I was that it became an obsession with me. Good news is I figured out how to eat and I basically grew an extra person from the weight that I was then to the weight that I am now, which leads to a topic that we'll get to later in this episode. So I don't think it was just me making all this stuff up in my head. I mean, it was, but it was because of things that I was seeing again, TV, movies, magazines. You guys, I was obsessed with magazines. And honestly, I wish I had kept more of them into my adulthood. My husband has bought me some on eBay because they were a few years ago for my birthday. All I wanted was old recipes and magazines from the early 2000s. I think I really wanted to have that boost of nostalgia. I love flipping through old magazines, even the old advertisements. There's just something. It takes me back to a simpler time. They have this issue of Twist, which was one of my favorite magazines, and it's from July of 2002. And the cover article says, "Girls who love their bodies, what's their secret?" I thought, that's cool. All right, girls, what is your secret? How do you love your bodies? The article starts about how they've talked to 7 readers to find out what they love or don't love about their bodies. They ask, how do you see yourself, how others see you, what you love, health habits, body bummers, body bliss, and body confidence tips. And so many of them were at the same place I was back then. This one girl, Marilyn, 17, she said that at school there's one perfect body type, not too skinny, with a flat stomach and a nice butt. It really affects how I judge myself. Fallon, 16, said, I hate my body. If I could, I'd change so many things. Natasha, 15, says, I'm not too happy with my body. I think that I could be thinner. The pictures of these girls, they are all what I would consider healthy or skinny girls. And this was still what they were dealing with. It's really disheartening to see what we all went through. And I guess I can't say we all went through this. I don't want to put it in a way that says that my experience is what everybody else's experience is. This is really just telling you what my experience is and looking at this magazine from 2002, how there were other people that had similar experiences. So let's fast forward a minute and you get to now we're all adults. Many of us have had children. Our bodies are different. They've changed, going through new changes. And we come through this period, I don't know exactly when it started. I probably should have looked it up, but the body positivity movement. This is when there were people, plus size women and larger, that were like, oh, I love my body. It's great to be a plus size person, a bigger person, just really praising and being comfortable in your skin and accepting your body for what it is, all those kind of things. Which on the one hand is fantastic. Yes, you should appreciate the body you're in. You should be thankful for all that it can do for being healthy, things like that. The body positivity movement had some criticism to it because then it's saying, well, you're praising obesity, you're showing that this is a healthy lifestyle, this is not a healthy lifestyle, things like that. And honestly, as a plus size person, I can see it both ways. And I can't tell you how much I have gone back and forth. There's some days where I'm like, I really need to do better. I need to work out more. I need to eat less. I've got to get smaller. This is ridiculous. And there's other times where I'm like, yeah, but I accept who I am. I'm buying larger clothes so that I can dress the body that I have and I want to appreciate myself. And it's still so hard because, again, of what we see on media and social media that still makes you think there's this perfect thing. And that if you accept who you are, you're like admitting that it's okay. And it's a huge struggle. And I don't know what the answer is. I mean, right now, I'm pretty happy with myself. Are there things that I would like to change? Yes. Am I willing to put the work in to change it? Maybe. I want to be healthy, and this is where I get stuck on it too. And let me know if you've had a similar experience or you know anyone who has. I'm overweight. I admit it. You can see it in my pictures. I'm not hiding it. But when I've gone to the doctor for my yearly checkups, which I don't do yearly, let's be honest. When I go for my checkups and get blood work done, everything is perfectly normal. My cholesterol's where it's supposed to be. My thyroid's working the way it's supposed to be. Because I tried that one. I asked the doctor, can you check my thyroid? Maybe I'm fat because my thyroid isn't working. Nope, thyroid's working. That's not the issue. You're just fat. Health-wise, I am in good health. So the weight isn't affecting that. I don't really know what the point is I'm trying to make here. I just wanted to have the conversation and say body image is a thing. And the body images that we have when we're teenagers don't always go away. I think sometimes it just changes. Because looking back on the body that I had when I was 12, when I was writing those diary entries, or 16, 17, when I remember all the crazy stuff I was putting my body through by not eating and not eating the right things. When I look at the body I had then, which was a very lovely body, and I hated it so much and I was so unhappy, that it's hard for me to hate the body I have now too, because this body grew a child. This body has seen some stuff and been through some things and has grown, literally and figuratively, and done so much that I don't want to hate that body too. So whether it's body positivity or just acceptance, the thing is that every person has to get to just accepting themselves and being okay with it. It doesn't matter what somebody else thinks about you. It doesn't matter how you look to someone else. And I know that in this day and age, there is still a lot of vanity. There is still a lot of how we look, how we present ourselves. And I'm not saying go around and don't take care of yourself and just look like a bum all the time. The irony is, if you could see what I'm wearing right now, I am in sweatpants and a hoodie, and I kind of look like a bum, but I am a comfortable bum who is happy with her body right now. And honestly, there's bigger things to worry about than just that. The moral of the story is take care of yourself, accept who you are, accept that other people are who they are. Don't try to shame anyone. Don't tell someone on the bus she's fat because she might go home and throw up. She might cry. I mean, words matter. I think these are all things that are important that we probably all know anyway. So those are my thoughts on body image today. Definitely let me know what you think. Did you struggle with it as a child? Is it something you're still struggling with now? How did you overcome it? What tips do you have? What other advice would you share to people going through it who may not be as accepting of their bodies? Just let me know. So send me an email, reach out on Instagram, and let's talk it out. Thanks for spending time with me on Talk with Kristen with an E, where it's always cheaper than therapy. If you enjoyed today's chat, don't forget to subscribe. And hey, let's keep these conversations going. You can find me on Instagram at Talk with Kristen with an E. Let me know what's on your mind. Until next time, take care of yourself. And remember, life is always better when we talk it out.